What is up, my Squirtleites? It is I, your king, welcoming you to a brand new Let's Play. A Let's Play of a game, well, let's be honest, you already know what this is just based on the title screen alone, and also the title of the video. It is Let's Play Pokemon Emerald, everybody. This is a game that I've wanted to Let's Play for a very long time, mostly because this is my absolute favorite Pokemon game of all time. And I mean that, like, it still is, and I could go into length about why that's the case. Just to start by talking, this is the game that got me into the Pokemon series again. I actually grew up on Red, Blue, and Yellow. I am from that generation. Red, Blue, and Yellow was my introduction to the Pokemon series, but I actually skipped over Generation 2 entirely. I was a little bit late to the party on everything else, and around probably the time that Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum were already long out is when I was finally able to get back into Generation 3. Now, I never had a Nintendo DS growing up. I kind of had Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and then skipped right over to the 3DS whenever that came out. I never got to experience a lot of Nintendo DS games, except for vicariously through other people's handhelds. And so, just having a Game Boy Advance, I jumped back into Pokemon with Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, specifically Sapphire and Emerald. And while Sapphire is the game I played the most, Emerald is, in my opinion, the definitive way to play it. It is the best version of the Generation 3 games, and that is why I'm going to be bringing it to you. So, let's get started. Let's jump right on in. I'm just going to change some options around. Let's make the text speed fast, stereo, L equals A, and let's go with frame type 13 because it's always been my favorite. Now, let's jump on into this thing. I've always loved Pokemon Emerald so much. I know that a lot of people are more either Generation 1 or Generation 4 babies, but I'm kind of a weird mix in that regard. Hi, sorry to keep you waiting. Welcome to the world of Pokemon. My name is Birch, but everyone calls me the Pokemon Professor, and this is what we call a Pokemon. No, that's what you call a Lotad, but go on. This world is widely inhabited by creatures known as Pokemon. We humans live alongside Pokemon at times as friendly playmates and at times as cooperative workmates. And sometimes we band together and battle others like us. Ugh. But despite our closeness, we don't know everything about Pokemon. In fact, there are many, many secrets surrounding Pokemon. To unravel Pokemon mysteries, I've been undertaking research. That's what I do. And you are? I am most certainly a boy. And no, I know a lot of people always look at the Brendan character and go, what is going on with that silver white hair? Is freaking got some issue with, like, what is that even? It's not melanoma. You know, I don't even freaking know. It's a hat. It's not hair, okay? It's a hat. It's a really weird hat, but it's a hat nonetheless. So at this time in Pokemon, or in Generation 3, all proper nouns were still being done in all caps, so I'm just going to continue with that theme by making my name all caps in this. Let's do it. Ah, okay, you're Levi, who's moving to my hometown of Littleroot. I get it now. Alright, are you ready? Your very own adventure is about to unfold. Take courage and leap into the world of Pokemon where dreams, adventure, and friendships await. I'll be expecting you later. Come see me in my Pokemon lab. And so we begin. So begins this wonderful adventure of my absolute favorite generation of Pokemon. And hopefully I have plenty to show you that millions of others haven't shown already, with hopefully my slightly different opinions at the very least. And of course, we start right off the bat with freaking abuse. Our mom just cramming us in the back of the moving van because I'm pretty sure that's illegal. You're not allowed to do that. How do I like it? I don't know. I'm still bruised a little bit, but I guess the home is all right. Has a quaint feel, but it seems to be an easy place to live, don't you think? And you get your own room, Levi. Let's go inside. Now, I get my own room, but oh, whatever. The movers Pokemon do all the work of moving us in and cleaning us after. This is so convenient. Levi, your room is upstairs. Go check it out. Okay, I gotta set my clock. Where is your room, though? There's literally what? Okay, this is already a little bit weird. Okay, just like my mom, she probably just sleeps on the kitchen table because we're that poor. You know, maybe I was too harsh about the whole abuse thing by throwing me in the back of a moving truck. I suppose it's the only abuse I receive since my mom has to sleep on the table and my dad doesn't even have a place to sleep so they can provide for me, their only child. Ugh. Okay, well, anyways, let's take a look around our room real quick. You can see there's a GameCube. I do like this. It says, it's a Nintendo GameCube. A Game Boy Advance is connected to serve as the controller. Wrong! That is so clearly a GameCube controller. You can even see the single green pixel that makes up the A button, as well as the yellow pixel that makes up the C stick. They are lying to you. Also, there's a TV. Dad might like this program of all ellipses. Yeah, probably. All right, clock is stop. Better set it and start it. Let's do that thing. So I'm actually going to set this to my in-game time that I'm recording this, which is, I actually don't know if I went the long way, but whatever. We need to keep going all the way around. Whoop, too far, too far, too far. We want it right here. It is about 8:19 my time. There we go. Levi, how do you like your new room? Good. Everything's put away neatly. They finished moving everything in downstairs, too. Pokemon movers are so convenient. Oh, you should also make sure that everything's all there on your desk, and we will do that right now. You get a little book that gives you, like, some tutorials. You get to boot up the PC and go in get your obligatory potion at the beginning of the game. This is something that was done away with in later generations, but it was a thing for a very long time. You can also take a look at the Hoenn Region Map, and we can see everything that's in store. Obviously, no spoilers, but now you get to look at the Hoenn region as portrayed by this game and its wonderful 16-bit sprites. Look, it's Petalburg Gym. Maybe Dad will be on. Oh, we brought you this report from in front of Petalburg Gym, and that's it. I think Dad was on, but we missed him. Too bad. Oh, yes, one of Dad's friends lives in town. Professor Birch is his name. He lives right next door, so you should go over and introduce yourself. Well, that was dismissive. All right, Mom, just enjoy your chair, I suppose. And so here we are in Littleroot Town. Not a whole lot to speak of. In fact, I would say this is probably the most generic and boring starting town of any. Well, actually, I don't know. Johto's is pretty boring too, but there's really like nothing going on here. I felt like even Pallet Town had a little bit more to it in Generation 1, but let's head on inside. And we're immediately greeted by a person who is wondering why we're trespassing into their house. Oh, hello, and you are... Oh, you're Levi, our next door neighbor. Hi. We have a daughter about the same age as you. Our daughter was excited about making a new friend. Daughter's upstairs, I think. Guys, everyone refers to each other in, like, this weird, like, second person. They don't really actually talk about... They don't just use them by name. It's very strange. I don't know. Well, here we are. Literally a mirrored room. It's got the yellow GameCube with the yellow controller. Ugh. Oh, that was the most... Okay, I love the GameCube, but I do not know what was going on with that, like, really strange, like, orangish yellow color scheme that they had going on. But whatever. Let's take this... I mean, I wasn't doing anything. Who are you? Why does everyone think my name is Ellipses? Whatever. I'm May. Glad to meet you. I have this dream of becoming friends with Pokemon all over the world. I heard about you, Levi, from my dad, Professor Birch. I was hoping that that you would be nice, Levi, and that we could be friends. Oh, this is silly, isn't it? I've just met you, Levi. Oh, no, I forgot. I was supposed to go help Dad catch some wild Pokemon. Better screw around on my computer for a bit. Everyone is, like, super dismissive in this world. I really don't get it. Whatever. Let's get on out of here. So now that we're out of here, we can head on into the lab, but I can promise you right now there's nothing for you to find in there. We are instead going to be now heading this direction, and there is this little girl right here. Hi, there are scary Pokemon outside. I can hear their cries. I want to go see what's going on, but I don't have any Pokemon. Well, I don't either, little girls, but I'm going to check. Help? Oh no, you're being chased by a raccoon. That's just a raccoon. Literally, all you have to do is kick it. Alright, fine, I'll check your bag. Time to look at some Pokemon. Okay, and so now we get to look at each of the starters here in Generation 3. Let's go over a brief explanation of each. First up, we have Draco, the wood gecko Pokemon. This is a grass-type Pokemon that it specifically specializes in special attacks and speed. You are going to specifically want to give it lots of different TMs that are going to help it along its way as it levels up, because you can't really just rely on grass-type moves from the get-go. But if you're willing to make this Pokemon work, it's actually, I think, the biggest sleeper Pokemon of the 3 that are available. Then we move on to Torchic. Now, Torchic was by and far the best Pokemon to pick in Ruby and Sapphire, what with different gym leaders and different Pokemon that you came across in those games, as specifically the champion. But in this game, Torchic has been definitely knocked down a peg. It's still really good, being fire and eventually evolving into a fire fighting type with lots of speed and physical attack as its specialty. Then we move on to Mudkip, which, while sacrificing in speed, has a very balanced attack and special attack going for it. So if you don't mind a bit of a slower Pokemon than the other two, you will still get a Pokemon that packs a very heavy punch, especially when it evolves and gains a ground typing. And overall, I would say if you want easy mode, this is the Pokemon to pick. It is, in my opinion, the strongest of the 3. But really, this is one of those few generations where I can say all 3 starters are really good options. And since Mudkip and Torchic tend to be the most clear-cut winners for most people just because Blaziken and Swampert are such popular Pokemon, I'm going to go with my original starter, which is Draco. Yes, that's right. When I first played Pokemon Sapphire back in the day, I picked Draco. And I really liked Draco, not because he was a really doofy gecko, but just because, I don't freaking know, there's something, I just like grass types, okay? There's something appealing about him. Like, don't get me wrong, I like Mudkip, I like Torchic, but Draco was my first, and I always thought he was really darn cool, and I especially like the Pokemon that he eventually evolves into. It's one of my absolute favorites. Whew, I was in the tall grass studying wild Pokemon when I was jumped. You saved me, thanks a lot. Literally, it was just a raccoon. Like I said before, all you had to do was kick it. Whatever. Hi, you're Levi. This is not the place to chat, so come by my Pokemon lab later, okay? And apparently this is later. So, Levi, I've heard so much about you from your father. I've heard that you don't have your own Pokemon yet, but the way you battled earlier, you pulled it off with aplomb. I guess you have your father's blood in your veins after all. Oh yes, as thanks for rescuing me, I'd like you to have the Pokemon you used earlier. And we have received the Draco. While you're at it, why not give a nickname to that Draco? Sure, why not? I'm going to be naming every single Pokemon we come across, or we get in this playthrough. Now, wasn't really sure what kind of name I was going to give it, but instead of doing something that's like what it's based on, or something that's like a reference to like a lizard or something, you know, related to what Draco is, I'm going to kind of go with the theme that, well, more so its later evolution, Sceptile, is kind of a dragon-like Pokemon, and I'm going to name it off of my absolute favorite dragon in pop culture. It also kind of fits the fact that this Pokemon doesn't have teeth, so we're going to name him Toothless. Yes, if you work a Pokemon and gain experience, I think you'll make an extremely good trainer. My kid May is also studying Pokemon while helping me out. Don't you think it might be a good idea to see May? Absolutely not. I already did. Oh, don't be that way. You should go meet my kid. No. Oh, don't be that... No. Okay, well, apparently the moral of this is that no just isn't enough. So hopefully that's something that you guys all learned from today. And yeah, if somebody tells you is insistent enough, you just can't say no anymore. That's just a lesson from, you know, your good old friendly, you know, family game Pokemon. Thanks, Game Freak. Thanks for telling me that no doesn't mean a thing. All right, well, we're going to start heading north, and as we head up north, we're actually going to run into our first set of Pokemon here on Route 101, and the first Pokemon that I want to catch, but unfortunately can't because I do not have any Pokeballs on hand, and that is Zigzagoon. In earlier games in Pokemon, it was very necessary to get what you would call an HM slave, and in this game, Zigzagoon is the perfect one to get. It can learn most of the early HMs such as Cut and Rock Smash, so we are going to be getting ourselves one at some point. On top of that, Zigzagoon also has an ability known as Pickup. Now, in Ruby and Sapphire, this ability was flat out overpowered because there was a set list of items that it could get after the end of every single battle. That's what the Pickup ability does. This included things like proteins and rare candies. In Emerald, they cleaned this up and made this a lot more balanced by changing the amount of things that it can get the higher the level it is. So it can actually pick up more things at the end of a battle, but it's dependent on what level your Zigzagoon's at. You can't start getting rare candies, for example, until your Zigzagoon, or in this case Linoon, is in the level 40s and 50s. And eventually you can even get things like the Earthquake TM and, you know, very, very rare items, but again, it's based on, you know, the level of your Pokemon as opposed to being able to just farm up rare candies right at the beginning of the game. And so now we enter Oldale Town. Let's go and talk to this guy. Hi, we're going to Pokemon Mart. Can I get you to come with me? Now this guy is going to be very, very nice, and after showing us what a Pokemon Mart is, he's going to give us a free potion. That's why you're going to want to talk to him. So you can look around Oldale Town. There is a Pokemon Center. There's a Mart, like I said. I don't think the Mart sells Pokeballs, though. It only sells potions. And then you can head on in here. There's not really anything going on in here. It's basically just the tutorial town. Like, there's just more people telling you about things that you can do. However, if you try to head to the left, if you try to go west, this guy is going to stop you. Ah, wait, please don't come in here. I just discovered the footprints of a rare Pokemon. Wait until I finish sketching them, okay? And so we are barred from going in that direction. So let's just keep on heading north. So now we are on Route 103, and I might as well start talking about some of the Pokemon that can be found on some of these routes. So besides Zigzagoon, which we saw on Route 101, there's also Poochyena. Now Poochyena is one of the basic early game Pokemon. Obviously, it's a dark type. It eventually evolves into Mightyena, which has the benefit of having the ability Intimidate, which automatically lowers the opposing Pokemon's attack stat at the beginning of a battle. But aside from that, it's not very good. A lot of dark types in this game were unfortunately hampered by the fact that the dark typing is special. Not a lot of dark types specialize in special attacks. They're mostly physical attack based, and Mightyena is no exception to that. So unfortunately, you don't really get to use Mightyena all that effectively, at least in this game. On top of that, its base stats are pretty weak. So it's not really the best out there. In fact, I would even argue and say that Linoon is a better Pokemon all around because at least it can take advantage of its own typing. And the fact that it specializes in just attack and speed make it a little bit, it just packs a better punch, I would say, all around. The other Pokemon that can be got in Route 101 is Wurmple. Now that is the titular, or the standard bug-type Pokemon that can be caught in Generation 3. It can evolve into one of two stages, either Silcoon or Cascoon. Silcoon eventually evolving into Beautifly, while Cascoon eventually evolves into Dustox. Beautifly is bug flying, while Dustox is, I believe, bug poison. I think that's correct, although it can also learn some Psychic-type moves. Dustox is more attack, offense-based, Beautifly is more defensive-based, basically just branching paths. You decide what works best for you. They're still pretty weak bug Pokemon, although Beautifly is a pretty good pick if you're going to get into contests later in this game. Alright, I apologize for that cut. Excuse me, I was going into explanations and I kind of got off track and lost what I was doing. So the last Pokemon that can be caught on this route, and this route alone, is Wingull, which is a flying water type. And it's actually a pretty darn good water flying type at that. This is a Pokemon that you can make use of very early on in the game. Now, despite its quad weakness to electric moves, it packs packs a big punch in a lot of other ways, and actually has a pretty darn good defensive stat. So if you want a Pokemon that has a lot of utility being both flying and water, not to mention the fact that it will be able to cover your Fly HM and your Surf HM, it's a pretty darn good Pokemon to get, and you can't really do too wrong with it. You're only really gonna have trouble using it in one gym that I can think of throughout this entire game. So highly would recommend picking that up if you do want a good utility flying type. That's not saying it's the absolute best, but it's a pretty good option. I'm just kind of hammering away at the Zigzagoon. I would like to get full health before I go into this battle, and I'm too lazy to walk back to a Pokemon Center. I'm also going to be mostly cutting out wild battles in future episodes. This is just kind of for this episode, just while I talk about the different Pokemon that can be caught around the route. And we got Toothless to level 7. Alright, let's jump on into this. Let's see, the Pokemon found on Route 103 include... Oh, hi, Levi. Oh, I see my dad gave you a Pokemon as a gift. Why do you sound so disappointed? Whatever. Since we're here, let's have a quick battle. I'll give you a taste of what being a trainer is like. And so begins the usual first battle that you get against any rival in any game. Now, unfortunately, I have to say right off the bat that May is probably the weakest rival that you'll ever get in any Pokemon generation. Well, okay, I shouldn't say absolute weakest, but definitely down there, unfortunately, is one of the weakest rivals. She's just not all that interesting nor that intimidating. There's about one entire point in this game where she might actually give you a little bit of trouble if you're not ready for her, but aside from that, she's really not all that difficult to deal with. And as you can see, all I had to just use was Pound, and eventually I won. War of attrition, my friends, war of attrition. And so now that we've beaten May, we get a little bit of money, a lot of experience, and I think I know where my dad has an eye out for you now. I mean, you just got that Pokemon, but it already likes you. You might be able to befriend any kind of Pokemon easily. Well, it's time to head back to the lab. And so we're going to follow her back. We have a couple more things to do before we end this episode, so just bear with me. This is going to be a little bit longer than normal, but if we just keep heading straight on down, we should be able to get right back, even though May's going to keep stopping us. Yes, I'm coming. I know how to get back to my place. Jeez. You think I didn't live there or something? I mean, yes, okay, I've only lived there for a couple of minutes, but still. I'm here. Ay, ay, ay. Alright, well, let's head on in here. And we auto-walk to the professor. Oh, hi, Levi. I heard you beat May on your first try. That's excellent. May's been helping with my research for a long time. She has an extensive history as a trainer already, but still has a level 5 Torchic or whatever. Here, Levi, I ordered this for my research, but I think you should have this Pokedex. And there we go. Pokedex is a high-tech tool that automatically makes a record of any Pokemon you meet or catch. My kid May goes everywhere with it. Whenever my kid catches a rare Pokemon and records its data in the Pokedex, why, May looks for me while I'm out doing fieldwork and shows me. Oh, wow, Levi, you got a Pokedex too. That's great, just like me. I've got something for you as well. And we obtained Pokeballs. I believe she gave us 5. It's fun if you can get a lot of Pokemon. It's always nice being handed your balls by another girl. I mean, if I find any cute Pokemon, I'll catch them with Pokeballs. Yeah, I'm not really interested in cute, honestly, but, thanks for the free Pokeballs. I do appreciate them. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the first episode of Pokemon Emerald. I hope you all enjoyed this episode very, very much. And I will see you all in the next one.